You are now tuned into the sounds of
Big Nate Sports Talk.
It's on all the time, anytime.
Tuned in to Big Nate Sports Talk, the show that is on all the time, anytime. And now, ladies and gentlemen, your host, Nathan Snell.
Yes, indeed. Thank you, Mr. Anthony Handy, as always, for that lovely introduction. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is your host, Nathan Snell, of Big Nate Sports Talk Podcast. This is episode 453 of the podcast. I hope you're all doing well. Hope you're all staying safe. Hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend. In this episode, it is week 2 of the WNBA season. Does not feel like it already. Before we get into that, there's a few things I want to say up front. I would like to thank Sean Spencer. Last week, we talked about the Washington Commanders and the draft recap with the Washington Commanders at this past draft. I was supposed to do the Ravens one. I will work on that more likely tomorrow, this upcoming weekend. So be patient with that. So the Commanders episode, and there was another episode that has yet to be uploaded. I'll have it uploaded as soon as I'm done with this episode, and you'll see those episodes come out tomorrow. Then there's some other content that I'm going to release out on YouTube as YouTube Shorts. You'll see soon, so be patient with me. We're still working on getting the content out through Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Please leave reviews so you can listen to that while you're driving, while you're at work. It's really appreciated. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe for our future content. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Follow me on Twitter. Links in the description. But yeah, that's pretty much all the content so far at the moment. I do have an special guest coming next week, so stay tuned in for that. It should be a great episode. The week 3 of the WNBA season is upon us. Oh, and also to continue to follow my content as well on MarylandSportsBlog.com and TeamNBSMedia. I am a little bit behind on Maryland Sports Blog, but TeamNBSMedia, check them out. Check me out there. But Maryland Sports Blog, definitely stay tuned for some content on there. But that is enough talk. We are here, obviously, because it's week 2, but I can't not do this episode alone. I got to bring on my buddy. As always, he was here with me at the tip-off of the WNBA season. Got to bring it back like no other. Ladies and gentlemen, Brendon Potts. Brendon, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm glad to be back. It's another week in the W season, and yeah, like you said, it's going by a little fast, but next thing you know, tomorrow it's going to start the playoffs. But no, for real, like it's good to be back, and I'm glad to be covering the W. Like I've told so many people, like this year I'm all in, and like I'm covering games. I'm going to Seattle Storm games. I've been to all of our home games so far. Granted, we've only had 2, but it's been exciting, and I'm glad to keep it going. So I'm ready, man.
Absolutely. Week 2, we're doing rankings this week. It was a little weird. We had the tip off. We had a couple games, and then it was kind of week 1-ish. And then there was a plethora of games, and then now we're kind of going to week 2. It's been interesting. We've seen a lot of things. We've seen Well, I'm going to preface my comments by saying this. Some teams have played 3 games. Some teams have played 5 games. It's still relatively early in the season. I think we're pressing the panic button a little too early. I don't really judge teams until about 15, 20 games into the season.
I was gonna ask you about that.
Yeah.
On a different subject, but like you said 15 games in, like what is the sample size to like really judge a team? Like, okay, you've shaken off the rust, you've sort of figured out what you are. What's that timeline? And you said I 15 games around there, right?
Around 15, because number one, you got to take into consideration. Look at Connecticut, right?
Right.
Connecticut is basically a whole new roster minus Marina Mabry.
Right. Yeah.
It's if you take away Marina Mabry, Tina Charles, Olivia Nelson-Odata, that's basically a whole new roster.
Right.
Need
even
time.
You put in Tina Charles too. She's new to the team.
Exactly. So the Las Vegas teams need time to gel. Right. I even though like 2 preseason games is to me not enough time for I think a team to gel. And again, like I mean, we can disagree, but I just think 4 games, 5 games to the season, I just don't think that's a sample size. Because, example, Golden State won 2 games, okay, but look who they played. They played the Sparks and the Mystics. And then look who they play again. They played the Liberty. And, okay, like, I just think, can I see how they look 10, 15 games before I make a true judgment call? That's just how I evaluate teams. That's me.
Yeah, that's fair. I was gonna ask that probably midway through the pod, but I'm glad we kind of got it out of the way.
Absolutely. So let's just get right into it. Brendon, did you have any comments that you wanted to preference on your rankings before we get started?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are I'll go through them when we go through our teams, but a lot of these are interchangeable. They're more like for example, a 3, they're 3A, 3B, or 4, or a 7, a 7A, 7B. So not really a definitive ranking, but what I see right now, I'm also taking into effect injuries with specifically the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark. Hopefully she gets well soon. But given how they've advertised her, it seems more precautionary at this point. Yeah, just also what I've seen from, we're max 5 games in. So just what I've seen now, this is purely like through the first 2 to 2.5 weeks of the season. This is what I see, and what we're going to go through right now.
Okay, let's start from the bottom. We're going to do it from 12 to number 1. I'm gonna start with Chicago. I'm gonna preface my comments by saying this. I'm gonna start with the fans. As fans, y'all got to calm down. Respectfully, y'all need to take a deep breath. First and foremost, we all saw
the sky's not falling. The sky's not falling.
The footage of them. Thank you, Brendon. The video of them obviously practicing, and I'm not going to say the journalist's name because I'm not going to throw dirt on their name like that. But I think some of y'all really showed your true colors in not understanding basketball drills in practice. What you saw was a transition drill, 2-on-3, 3-on-2. You learn that third grade AAU. I mean, I I can't believe what I saw on that. I mean, like fans literally crashed out on a transition on transition drills, which is beyond me. That's the first point I wanted to make. I thought that was crazy. My second point: this team needs time to gel. This team is not ready for Angel or Camilla to have the offense ran through them. I think this is a team that is not. That's another 2 years that we playoff ready, in my opinion. I think we're jumping the gun. I think, for example, Errol Atkins. Some of the discourse on Errol Atkins, I think, to an extent, has been disingenuous. Errol Atkins coming out of Texas, I've always looked at her more of as I think is a two-way guard, but more primarily her is defense. Washington, when with Della Dawn, I know we tried to make her kind of a, hey, we need you to kind of take on the lead of being a scorer. And that didn't work. However, I think she plays better when there's a star. When you look at their roster, do they really have a star? No, they do not. And sure, Angel Reese is leading in rebounds, but there's no other player currently leading in double figures. I mean, even if Kennedy Carter was on this roster, it still doesn't fix the problems. Like, and even like people bring up the trade. Next year, everyone keeps saying, well, it's the free agency. Everyone's a free agent. Chicago could get some free agents, and they could still, I don't know what next year looks like for a lot of teams. So I think we kind of need to let this run its course, be patient, and give it time. But like 4 games into the season, like we're calling for Tyler Marsh's job. I mean, like he didn't put this team together. That's front office. Like Camilla should request a trade. Why? I mean, Courtney Vandersloot is not known for defense. I mean, like last year, the roster I thought was to an extent okay, but most of the players that were there were ran out of Chicago by the fans, in my opinion. So, I mean, I don't really see an identity with this guy. But, I mean, when I look at them right now, I think their best performance was against the Sparks. I mean, there's progress, but they got to find a way to play all 4 quarters. They play the Wings tonight, and then they got Dallas on the 31st. So I think putting them right now, they'll be fine. They just need time to grow. The growth and development is not easy. You know, you're going to see a lot of stuff on the basketball court not pretty. That's part of growth. You know, Brendon could tell you that with the Storm when Stewie and Sue Bird left. But I know the different situations, but you know, growth is not easy at times. Fans have to be patient. So that's my thoughts on Chicago.
Yeah, I kind of share the same one. Star right now, no, they don't have, but they have rising stars. But like you said, like they need to develop. They need to get better. They need to improve. They need to turn into what they are viewed as, and that is a star in the future. And we say the future for a reason. Like it's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. So that's basically what I'll have to add there. But yeah, you basically nailed all of the points that I had with Chicago.
Okay. I'll give you the floor on Dallas, and I'll because we both kind of this is where we both kind of part ways. So you had at 12 Connecticut, and I put Dallas at 12. So
Yeah, Dallas, I put at I put a little over Connecticut just because they got that win yesterday. They need an offensive identity, or they need an offense. You know, like they've it's funny. I've talked to so many Wings fans on X or Twitter or whatever you guys want to call it. I call it Twitter. But I've talked to a lot of Wings fans because I love Paige, and they've clamored on this team needs an offense. This team needs an offensive identity, and um, they have been happy, or they've been wanting a defense. Like they have the offense, but they want a defense. Like they've been giving up almost 150 points a game, but exaggeration, guys, calm down. But
yeah,
but they're only scoring 100, and you know those they need a defense, but it's kind of flipped. Um, so I give them their ranking for me just because they got that win, but uh, the thing for me, which is it's so weird at this point in the season, that the duo of Paige and Enrique is not working as well as Paige and Ty Harris, and um, it kind of doesn't help that Ty is injured, and I hope she gets well soon, because I wanted to when Dallas comes to Seattle, I want to dig into the mind of both Coach CK and Paige, because for me that trio of Paige, Ty Harris, and Enrique reminds me of her last year at UConn, Paige's, with her, Caitlin Chen, and AZ Bud. For what I saw in the tournament, you had 3 point guards running the floor, which is good. Which is good when UConn does it, because Paige can be off the ball a lot. She operates well off the ball, and she is a player that doesn't need the ball in her hands to be effective. Um, with Ty Harris, that she works out really well. Um, but with Enrique, it's kind of awkward, because it's just kind of awkward to see that duo that we thought was going to do so well, not do well to start the season. Now that could be because of some kinks in the system, and they're working it out, and they've only got 2 weeks into their tenure. That's totally fair. So, and I think I said, I know I've said to other people that, but I think I've said here, like, I think these 2 seasons between Dallas and Indiana are going to start out similarly. Both are going to start out slow, but once they figure it out, they're going to be really good. So I give them that. To be honest, with Dallas, I only have a 1-game sample size with watching them, and that was the game against Seattle, in Dallas. That's a game. Given we're gonna talk about the Storm later, but that's a game where if Seattle does not get hot in the second quarter, I believe, Dallas wins that game. I think Dallas lost that game more than Seattle won that game. And I've talked with Dallas fans. I've heard what they had to say about that specific game. You also have to take into account that was Enrique, or that they claim that was Enrique's worst game of her career, and so you take that into account, and With Dallas, we talked the same thing about Chicago, right? You see the potential. You see the potential in Dallas. You see the potential in Chicago, but it's not quite there. They need to work on it over time, and I believe they will.
I mean, I don't disagree. I mean, outside of Enrique, I mean, I kind of question the lack of scoring, a pure score, lack of 3-point shooting. At times, like
Are you talking outside of Page?
no, outside of Enrique.
Oh, okay, okay.
And I mean, Page, like, don't I mean, I'm.
Well, you know what's crazy? You know what's crazy? I've heard from Dallas Wings fans. This is the craziest thing to hear 5 games into the season. I've heard from Dallas Wings fans. Paige Beckers needs help. A rookie who's played 5 games in her career needs
this
help.
Not her team yet. No.
That's insane.
I think honestly and truthfully, like trying to build this thing around Enrique. I mean, I feel like at this point with Dallas, like this is years of like it's not her fault. It's just the person that we should blame at this point is Greg Bibb, who's no longer in charge of, I mean, he's the CEO, but he's stepped back and now it's Kurt Miller. But yeah, I just think, and like you said, I think they'll get it together. I just think that, there's no true 5. I mean, Tierra McCollum's a 5, but every time she's on the floor, I mean, because of her size, it's just like officials don't know. Like one, it's a foul. Like one, I think it was like the first game, like 4 fouls in 4 minutes. So there's no 5 big that can defend the 5 consistently. So it's like, yeah, it's kind of a mess with them at the moment. But I think they'll get it together.
Yeah, Tierra McCollum for me is inconsistent. She's had games where you wanna throw in the towel with her. You wanna just you just wonder why is she performing this way? And then she has a game where she plays on the same floor with Nneka Ogwumike, Ezzie Magbagor, and any other forward, like any other all-star forward for her opponent, and she looks like the best player on the floor or the best forward on the floor. So, it's that inconsistency for me.
But I think also too, I think it's also too how I was listening to the committee space last night, and they did pose a good question. Can you truly run an offense through guards? Like at some point, I think that's a question. I think the answer is already kind of shown. I don't know. I think, like I said, Dallas will get it together.
Yeah. So yeah, they'll get it together.
Yeah. For Connecticut, Brendon had them at 12. I had them a little higher. I had them at 10. The reason I put them where they were, I simply look at the schedule. I understand they got blown out by Las Vegas and Atlanta by 25 and 24 points, respectfully. But again, the schedule, I'm taking into consideration the schedule. And on top of that too, like it's a new team. And in fairness, Sinai Rivers wasn't there for a high second, nor Nisa Morrow. And this team is learning a new system under a new coach. And they just brought Bria Hartley in there as well. So like they get a small pass for me. Like is one thing is if they had this team from training camp week 1, like from then it's a little different. I get it. Like offensively, they are struggling to score the basket. I get it. Totally. I'm just not all the way putting them like that low. I think they'll get together. They need some time. So I say by like this week, I think they'll get their first win because I know they lost to Dallas. So
I have a question. Might have an
answer.
You think if Tina Charles keeps up this performance or the way that she's been kind of carrying this team, I feel like she could be an all-star, a borderline all-star, if she keeps this going because she's been balling. What do you think about that?
Yeah. I mean, I think her and Marina Mabry both could be all-star. They both should be an all-star conversation. Both
Yeah,
of them.
that's a good one. I think Tina Charles is like she's where I'm gonna be asking Tina where's the fountain of youth that she's been drinking the water from because pretty soon I'm not that old but like I'm gonna be asking where's the fountain of youth because
Well,
she's
I want to
clearly found
give
it.
I want to give Lo from the committee a
Yeah,
shout out from on this because she
we
mentioned
love
this a
love.
while ago. Um, this is something Angel Reese could definitely should learn, and I say in terms of development. And this is why I think Tina has had so much longevity in her career so far. Years of I think of being a post player, learning to develop yourself. Tina can basically do a little bit of everything. She can stretch the floor. At some point, especially when you get older, you can't really do certain, things that you used to. Go down low in the post. You can do that, but when you go up against mobile bigs like Fee, Stewie, Asia, so forth, as you get older, that wears and tears on your body. So I think you have to figure out how to evolve your game. I think the longevity I think shows. So Tina being able to do those things. I mean, even though she did some of that in college, I think has shown why she's been in the league this long because she's able to step back and shoot the three, has the mid range, different things like that. So yeah, but yeah, most
Yeah, for
definitely.
sure.
You put we already talked about Dallas, Golden State. Would you like to talk about the Valkyries, sir?
Yeah, the Valkyries are interesting. I mean, like you said, like they got a couple of wins, but like who do they beat? They're a work in progress. I think a lot of these teams down here are a work in progress. I think the Valkyries is that the last team before the line is drawn, where we separate that tier from like a work in progress to a borderline playoff team. Um, the Valkyries, I mean, they're a work in progress. Now they've got some players coming back from injury. They had Tiffany Hayes out for a while. I believe Mo Billings missed the game. I could be wrong, but they've had some injuries. So you give them that benefit of the doubt. But I mean, they're a new team. They're still working out the kinks. Um, so I guess I should stop saying that because a lot of the teams here are working out the kinks. Um, but yeah, I mean give it time. And the Valkyrie, I mean they've shown a little bit of promise, but I think like in our preseason rankings we didn't like give them too high hopes. So
No, I mean, I'm a second that motion. Same thing. The reason why I have them right at 11, is simply because of schedule. I think that they had a favorable schedule in their favor. They played uh, a we got a dog cam in the building. um, they played a Mystic team that down the stretch does not have experience to close games, and then they played the Sparks. I can't. While I will give them credit for those wins. Okay, that's fine. But those two wins came against teams that were below 500. Now, their next 5 games, I know, well, they just lost to New York. Then they have to play New York. They play New York twice, Minnesota, Phoenix, Las Vegas. Now, that's how I get to see what they really look like. Now, and again, if you look at the history of expansion teams in the first year, I mean, I think we're kind of I'm not jumping on this wagon of like the 2 wins are great, but again, like no, I'm kind of like I'm they had a favorable schedule, and Veronica Burton against the Mystics was clutch. So great 2 wins, but no, I'm not giving them that pass. I'm not giving them that pass. So
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
fair.
so.
That's fair. I have a little something really quick on that Mystics game. I'm so mad about that game in particular because I was in San Francisco during that day, and I was scheduled to go to a concert, and I mean scheduled. I went to the concert, but that day they were scheduled to play the Mystics, and I was so mad because I wanted to go see Jade Melbourne play against the Valkyries.
Oh
And
no.
oh my gosh! And I texted her and I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm in town," and I'm sending her a picture of me like right outside the arena, and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, I'm here, but I can't watch you because I'm going to a concert." And she thought that was so funny, but no, I'm sad that they lost that game too because I had kept track of that game. Um, but yeah, that was my one little story about the Valkyries and the Mystics since you brought that up.
No, that was a game we should have won personally.
Yeah, and
but it's
exactly
okay.
that I was gonna point that out. Like that was a game the Mystics should have won.
But again, we'll talk about the Mystics in a little bit. But
yeah,
but again, the Valkyries, I had 2 wins were great to see because I mean some people didn't have them winning a game, but again they had a favorable schedule in their favor.
Well, and that's historic, right? Like this is the first time in history,
right?
Like the Valkyrie, I believe the Valkyries. Sorry, you may want to cover your ears, but I think the Valkyries win against Washington was the first win ever in Valkyries history. So, I mean that's historic. So
I'm going to reiterate my comments right here, right now. The clock is officially ticking. The honeymoon is over.
I mean, this is some bad stuff. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to say. I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how much more of this I can take. I just don't know. This is ridiculous. What was that?
Okay. Let's move on. Thanks, Brendon, for painfully bringing that up.
of course.
Let's move on to the Los Angeles Sparks. I'm gonna give you the floor on the Sparks. What do you got for me?
Yeah, I mean, for the Sparks, number one, to start out positive, Kelsey Plum is balling. She is straight up balling. And I'm not going to take anything away from Azrae Stevens too. She's been a great asset for that team as well. I think the injury to Ray Burrell hurts a lot. It adds to what they're already missing with Cam Brink. I think their team, or I think their product is, or their I mean, it's hard. This is hard to describe, but their situation right now is they're just waiting for Cam to come back, and like honestly, you can't wait for one player to come back. Like that's just not how this works. But I feel like the Sparks will seem more complete or more evaluatable. That's a $50 word, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Well, they'll be that, when Cam comes back, and I just don't see how that will work. And on that note, though, how far will Kelsey take that, or how far can she take them? That also doesn't work because we've seen this movie before with the Sparks
I agree.
through other teams. Um, uh, Sarah Ashley Barker, she's been killing it in the minutes that she's been getting. It's really cool to see a rookie like her not only make the team but like get the minutes that she's getting. And I believe she got a starting spot. Correct me if I'm wrong. During the season, she started a game. So that's cool to see that they trust her. I feel like that team really likes her. So yeah, it's just a process, but like, how long are you willing to wait? Considering like you made the move to get Kelsey Plum to compete for a championship at the end of the day. That's what everybody's been hyping up about. Like, we got a player like Kelsey Plum to compete for a championship, and you start out 2-4 in the year. Granted, first year head coach, coming from college, and basically a brand new team. Some players, but like some players are coming back, but a brand new team nonetheless. And it's like you have so many injuries. Rakia Jackson was out for a while. Now she's out for personal reasons. Hope all is well with her.
Absolutely.
Liatu King was a training camp cut or a preseason cut, but then she got back on the team for a hardship contract. That's when this team is a question mark for sure. But yeah, the only question or the only thing that I like say, my biggest I told you so is Mercedes Russell. I told all Storm fans, I told you so. I said in a group chat that she was quote unquote washed. I've since taken that back and said not washed, but I think Lee Rue is a way better option than Mercedes Russell. And I told everybody because she's earning or she's getting like 2 to 3 minutes a game in her first 5 games with the Sparks. And the fact that they have this many injuries and she's not playing much is really sus. It's really sus right now. Yeah. Yeah. So that's my biggest I told you so with the Sparks.
Couple of notes I did want to point out. You mentioned the scoring of Kelsey Plum, and can it be sustainable? I think so. I think down the stretch, I have questions. That's number one.
Now, can it be sustainable, but can it lead to winning?
That's where I think Odyssey Sim should be in the game in closing moments, because I think she should be on the floor in those situations. Not saying Kelsey should be on the bench. I just think we've seen at times, and as much as I love Kelsey, I think Kelsey tends to go rogue. Same thing with Azare. That's a little bit of a concern as well. I just think, where's the offense kind of, where's it going to come from? I mean, so far coming in, the only 2 wins was with Kelsey. So all the productions has to come from somewhere else, like De'Erica. Someone else has to step up in this offense. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. But yeah, no, you pretty much hit on all the points for sure. Washington. No, we're going to go to Indiana because you had Indiana interestingly enough. So I want to get your thoughts on where your ranking of Indiana.
Yeah, Indiana. I'm obviously taking into effect the Caitlin Clark injury. She's out for 2 weeks with a I believe a hamstring injury. Correct me if I'm wrong.
It's a calf injury.
Calf injury. I'm sorry. But she's out for 2 weeks. And I mean, Indiana, like they're a good team. Don't get me wrong. They're a good team, and they'll improve over the course of the season. But their game against Washington without Caitlin Clark, like they just like there was no offense. There was none. And you know, it's crazy to see that Caitlin, that one player, granted it's Caitlin Clark, but also like on the other side, it's one player. She can generate that much offense without, not necessarily scoring, but like her passing, her passing and her scoring. But like she can generate so much offense because the scoreboard looks way different if Caitlin Clark plays in that game. And it's just so weird to see that dip fall like that dip from having Caitlin Clark to no Caitlin Clark. So the other thing, the thing I'm worried about with Indiana is DeWanna Bonner. She hasn't been up to par. I think in terms of her role. She's gonna get played off the floor to the bench, man. Like, and I think that's the best option for her. I think I've heard some Indiana Fever fans. I've heard, which are hard to find, by the way, this time of year, or this time of era. I've heard some fans say Lexi Hole needs to start and DeWanna Bonner needs to come out the bench. I agree. I think that would be a better move to make the offense easier to run, make everything easier for Caitlin when she comes back. So I think that would be a better move. But right now I got Indiana, and that Indiana where they are, and that's as I mentioned at the top of the show, like that's an interchangeable move with Indiana and Washington. I'm just going based off of their last game and what that showed me, and I'm also factoring in Caitlin Clark's injury.
My producer AJ wanted me to clarify it is a left quadricep strain injury, not a calf. Thank you, AJ, for that. I wanted to clarify it's a quadricep injury. So most I think the Fever will be fine. I think they'll hold the fort down till she is back from her injury. I watched the game last night, and yeah, they looked really, really different in terms of not know how to run a pick and roll. That was really, really weird. And again, like I get it, but I would think that in the meantime the offense should run through Aaliyah until Caitlin comes back. But like I said at the beginning of when we did the preseason rankings, this is a team chemistry wise that still needs time to gel. And again, the wins against better teams, New York, they erased a 9-point deficit in the fourth quarter and got the win. I think a good team to be where they're at right now. But this is where I think Natasha Howard, MVP, the DeWanna Bonner, champion, Sydney Colston, champion. I think where your veteran leadership kind of kicks in and steps in those roles and takes the helm while Caitlin nurses her injury. Then Aaliyah Boston too. Stephanie White, definitely I think will make magic with what she has. So I don't think there should be any cause of concern. I will say that in the meantime, when you do kind of look at where they're at, and then also to like Kelsey Mitchell, and I didn't even mention Kelsey Mitchell and Sophie Cunningham. I get it. Nothing replicates what Caitlin can do offensively. So I think it starts on the defensive side of the ball, and I think everything will transition to the offensive side of the ball. They'll be fine. I'm not worried about them.
You think Aaliyah Boston wins Most Improved Player this year? I think she'll be up there. I think she'll be up there because she's played fantastic, man.
What defines most improved?
Didn't you see Dearica Hamby win it last year?
But see but Dearica Hamby came off the bench. Like to me, Aaliyah has been a starter. To me, most improved is like when you go from the bench to a starter. Like your numbers from one point, you were averaging 6.5 points, and you went to 14. Like Aaliyah came in and was starting from day one. Like Dearica, that award is so weird. Like Satu. Satu was an all-star and got most improved. Like, how can an all-star get most improved?
Dearica, I believe, was an all-star and she got most improved. All of these awards are weird, man. All of these awards are weird. I'm just asking it for the question. It's been a popular topic on Aaliyah Boss. Like everyone's trying to pick their awards like 5 games in. I think Aaliyah has a great case. I just wanted to see if you were on the same page.
I do think she has a case of making Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yep, for sure. But other than that, I mean, other than that, like the Fever will be fine in the meantime.
They'll be fine.
So I do believe they play Connecticut on the 30th. So yeah.
Is that in Connecticut?
Is it Connecticut? It's actually no, it's there. Okay. Indiana. Okay. So Washington.
Yep.
And then let's go to Washington. The Mystics. I'm not going. You know what? No. Some of y'all owe the Mystics an apology.
I don't, but I want to put it on the record. I don't.
First and foremost, we're not trading Shakira Austin or Leah Edwards. We're not making any trades. Can we please stop this? We're trading the former 3rd overall pick for a random player. That's not happening. I don't know where that's coming from. But if I hear one more time, if I hear one more, we need to make a trade. I'm gonna crash out on somebody. No, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, the first 5 games we've seen a lot. Obviously, Georgia's out for the season with her ACL injury, but Kiki Arifin has definitely had her welcome to the W. I mean, her matchups have been something to watch. And Alyssa Thomas, BG, Aisha Wilson, that's definitely welcome to the W moment. Sonia Citron has adjusted. They both adjusted well to the W for sure. I know Brittany Sykes wasn't in there in the Vegas game, but in the win yesterday against Indiana, Shakira Austin, Leah Edwards, they look good for sure. But Sydney Johnson is putting together a good team. I know there were some criticisms on what he's putting out there, and again, preseason, and mind you, not having a healthy roster makes a difference. And now I'm kind of seeing people switch up, which is okay, but like I do think at some point, like with a healthy rotation of bigs with Kira, Aaliyah, Steph, Kiki, like that group, that's feeding families. And then we're not even talking about Brittany Sykes, Sonia, Suk Sutton, and them. They're really doing some great things. Sika Kone and there, Emily Enksler, all doing great things. Jade Melbourne as well. She's having a decent role as well. But the Mystics have really, really shown they stayed in these 5 games. Like they're not getting blown out by like 20 points, but they've stayed in the games. The only thing that's hurt them is their inexperience to close games. That's the difference. So credit, Coach Johnson and really putting the, I think everyone's bought into their roles, but also too, like, it's there. I'm seeing it. Like the upside's there, but we have the second coming into prior to the game yesterday. We had the second best defensive rating behind Golden State. Remember correctly, so we're right there. So hey, I think we're right there.
Yeah, wait. Some people pegged this Mystics team as, the worst team, and they're just gonna they're in a rebuild and all the stuff that some of the players I know have heard. But I was listening to a podcast earlier today. I can't remember the exact name of it. I'll find it before we end here. But it was with Georgia Amore, and she talked about how this is a young group, and they just bought into the fact that like they're a young group. They're playing free. They're figuring it out, but like they're just having fun, and it. But I'm glad that you said it, because like this group is bought in. Like they're bought in. They're together. They are showing that they are playing together as one unit, and that's really cool to see from a young team, especially a team like the Washington Mystics. But I mean, my prediction at the beginning of the year, it's not looking too crazy, huh? Like they're 2-2. They could be a bottom tier playoff team if they play their cards right. So, like
we're 2-3.
You see, or 2-3. I apologize, but I mean, like you said, like you see the vision. You see the vision, and they've rattled off some really, really, really good wins. So, they are 3-3. I'm sorry, because they started 2-0. Yeah. Okay, they're 3-3. I'm sorry. But either way, you see the vision. You see the potential. You see the vision. So I'm just saying, like, the potential is there, and I think a young team like the Mystics, who honestly could have 2 Rookie of the Year candidates, which is crazy. I
think with that, not to cut you off, I think one of them, someone else mentioned this last night. I can't remember who it was. Someone talked about this, but I think it's like the MVP conversation. Votes are going to get taken away.
Yeah.
Another. So, yeah. But please continue.
Yeah. No. The Mystics are at times fun to watch. I saw a tweet by Lo. Shout out to her again. She was doing it was kind of like a quote tweet thread. And one of the options, it was picking a couple of teams to root for this W season, and her team or one of the teams that she picked was a side hustle team. The Mystics are my side hustle team. So this is one option was you'll get up like late in the morning, or you'll leave the house and go straight to this team for no apparent reason. And she said TBD, and I'm like, yeah, same, because I have no idea what that means. Let me get the right.
While Brendon's looking up the podcast,
the only one, or the one you secretly consider running away from home for.
Oh my gosh!
She said TBD. The podcast is from the YouTube channel, the Bounce Pass, and it's a cool world, or it's a cool world with Beck Cole, and she had a special guest in Georgia Amore. So be sure to check out that episode. It's a really good episode. I listened to it on the way to work today. So that was a really cool episode. They basically went through everything Georgia Amore.
Nice. Shout out to the bounce pass. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Let's get into Vegas, and then we're going to get into a commercial break. Same thing. I'm going to kind of reiterate this with the Aces. I think the panic button's being pressed a little too early. I get it. We're a couple years from winning a championship, but mind you, this is practically, I get it. You still have Jackie Young, Chelsea Gray, Asia Wilson. That's your core. Mind you, Chelsea Gray was not 100% last year. I'm seeing Jackie Young doing a little too much this year. Asia's kind of, I don't think she's having a bad game, but when the others have a bad game, I feel like she puts it on her shoulders, if that makes sense. But also, too, I think Jewel Lloyd is still adjusting into their system. I mean, that 20-point loss to you guys controlled that game from start to finish. I believe coming into this week, they were 6th in offensive rating, and I think they were like 10th, which, since I can remember when they got to Vegas with Bill Laimbeer, that's been their bread and butter, was defense. And that's something Becky Hammon's also preached. I get it. There's a lot of calls. There's a lot of question marks, a lot of concerns. But again, there's got to be some sort of patience. Also, too, the bench, Dana Evans will adjust. Leah Nye will adjust. I'm not – Megan Gustafson has recovered from injury. Cheyenne Parker-Tyus will be back soon. So I just think that this team just needs time to mesh. I just don't think 2 weeks to the season, I just think this cause for panic. That's my opinion. But I get it. I get it.
Yeah, not too much. Well, not too much more to add there, but we'll get into the Seattle Storm a little later. But I think that particular game, I think that was more the Storm doing well than the Aces falling flat. I think it was a little bit of both, but also got to add, Elizabeth Kitley looked good against Seattle in her minutes too. So that's a name that I definitely watch down the stretch if things don't improve as fast as they want. But like you said, I'm preaching patience as well. I'm also not reading too much into Asia Wilson leading in like every statistical category. Like, that's part of like figuring it out, right? Like they'll figure it out. They just gotta have time to gel and figure this thing out.
It's the same thing. I'll use the Chicago Sky for example. We look at the stat sheet. The plus or minus thing, like plus 5 or plus 1. Or they look at you'll see people post they shot they were 10 at 12 points and only took 16 shots. Okay, well, what was their negative? What was their plus differential? Well, what did they do on the defensive side of the ball? You know what I'm saying? Like, basketball is not one dimensional, if that makes sense. So, ay. All right, so we're halfway there, ladies and gentlemen. We got the last 5. No, less. Yeah, because we got New York, Minnesota, Seattle, Phoenix, Atlanta. So we're at our top 5. And then we're going to talk about, but before we get into that, let's get into a commercial break. We will be back, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, and we are to our 5 through 1 of the rankings. And for the most part, Brendan and I were accurate, except for two, the last for 2 and 1. I'm going to give Brendan the floor. We both had Atlanta at 5. I'm giving the floor. Brendan, go ahead.
Yeah, Atlanta is pretty sneaky. I think I got to give them credit. Like, we didn't know coming into the season, we didn't know what this team was going to be. We didn't see the vision, but Carl Smesko, man, he's a visionary because he helps us see the vision. His offense is very 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 unique. It's a five out, and luckily for them, they've got forwards on their team, Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones, who aren't afraid to shoot three, and we've really seen that this season. Um, they've really this team has really been a Ryan Howard centric offense, but I was listening to another podcast um, about the Atlanta Dream, but in the one that I listened to, they talked about Atlanta basically playing roulette last year with point guard. Um, this year they don't really have to. Um, but last year, like, they were so uncertain at that position, which kind of forced them to play Ryan Howard basketball, or Howard centric basketball. Um, this season, Ryan can kind of just be herself, and Alicia Gray's been killing it. She's probably one of the most underrated players in the league. Um, she's got all the talent, but none of the spotlight that she should have. Because she's killing it year after year after year. Um, so Alicia Gray's been a big benefactor or like been a big help for this team. Um, one of the coolest stories, and I can't wait to dig into more of this story when Atlanta comes to Seattle tomorrow. Um, is the story of Tahina Powell and the fact that she went from second round pick to um, to a starter in the league, and in a matter of weeks, and not only like second round players don't make the team usually. They usually don't make the roster, and she not only made the roster, but she fits in like a glove. Like Jordan Canada is a fantastic player. She's a former Storm player. We love JC over here, and she killed it in I believe Athletes Unlimited, if not Unrivaled. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Who was it?
Jordan Canada.
It was Unrivaled. No, Athens Unlimited.
Athletes Unlimited. There you go. So Jordan Canada goes down, and the sky's supposed to be falling, right? Like oh, here we go again. It's just like last year. Oh no, like Jordan Canada's down. Like, what are we gonna do? Tahina Powell starts from day one after her teammate goes down, and it's like Jordan Canada's not missing. Like there's not a void missing. There's not a hole in this team because Tahina Powell filled it. So that just speaks on the way that she stepped up in her role, and I cannot wait to dig into more of that story. That'll be coming out in the next couple of days. I got to do some interviews and talk to some people, but I can't wait to tell that story because it really fascinates me. But just she stepped up so much, and the podcast that I listened to, I would really give this a listen. It's from the 9450. It's Codename Dream with K Dot, our boy K Dot, and Megan Hall, another really good journalist. I know she's helped me a lot. She's helped another buddy of mine a lot. Um, she really has a lot of good insights from covering the Dream. So I really think you guys should go give that a listen to. But yeah, the Atlanta Dream is a sneaky good team this year, and I'm glad it's taken me a couple of weeks to realize that.
No, I agree. Everything you said about Atlanta is 1,000%. I will say that they didn't have Brittany Griner, they didn't have BG for a back to back because of an injury. Jordan Canada wasn't there for a hot minute. Um, so again, AJ, thank you, is in my ear yelling. She was an unrival. Thank you, AJ. I appreciate it. Thank you. Jordan Canada was an unrival this past off season. Thank you, AJ. I appreciate it. So anywho, before my producers in my ear screaming, I think they'll be fine with all the lineup changes. This Atlanta team should be, I think, will be okay. I'm not too concerned. I don't see really any weaknesses. I mean, other than the 2 games against Indiana, which they both split. You talked about Tahina. I thought Bree Jones is adjusted well, in my opinion. I think they're doing well. Their offense has looked a lot better than it was compared to last season. I believe they're 4th at the moment compared to where they were at this point, where they were like dead last, which was like 77. They averaged like 77 points per game. So Coach Carl's doing something right for sure. So take that for data. But yeah, Atlanta's doing some good things. Atlanta is playing. They already played LA. They do play you guys tomorrow, so that should be interesting. So
That should be interesting. I'm nervous, man. I'm nervous. I'm like, especially because Alicia Clark is questionable tomorrow. If she doesn't play, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about that game. Because I think Atlanta's good. Like, I think this Atlanta team is good. And if AC doesn't play, if AC plays, I feel a little bit more comfortable about the Seattle Storm winning that game. But if Atlanta, if she doesn't play, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about that game because Atlanta's that good.
I think you guys will be fine. You guys will be fine.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's go to Phoenix. Okay, so for me, this kind of the same thing I put on my article with TeamNBSMedia. It was kind of interchangeable with Phoenix and Seattle. Put them at 3 and 4 because they both had great weeks. I simply went by schedule because I think Seattle also too had after they lost to Seattle lost to Phoenix. Seattle won a 3-game win streak, including beating Vegas. I get it. But also too, Phoenix does have the best current coming into this week. They did have the best defensive rating and the 4th overall net rating. Remember seeing those stats correctly. But I mean, it's interchangeable. I just think, to me, it was just about schedule and not having Kai Copper out there. Catherine Westbell. I mean, they got everyone that's knowing their role. Satu Sabli and Alyssa Thomas are silencing a lot of critics in Phoenix. They're doing a lot of some good things in there. I had them like, I think it was a 6-7. I'm going to look back and like a few more weeks and see what it look like for now. But they got the girls rolling in Phoenix. So the Mercury is on fire. So, but I mean, other than that, I don't have any other things to add on to that. I mean, they do play Minnesota tomorrow, and then they got the Sparks on Sunday. So that should be interesting.
Yeah, I don't got nothing else to say except Phoenix is gonna be a good team, and they showed that in the two games that they played against Seattle. Even though one of them was a loss, they're gonna be a good team, and this is if when I still stick to what I'm saying. If when Kalea Copper's healthy, I think they they put Sammy Whitcomb on the bench. I can't remember their other starting guard. Because she played well in the game against Seattle. Makani. Um, Monique Akoa Makani. Um,
Okay, yeah, but she's
I think
currently averaging 10 points so
yeah,
far.
I think she stays in the starting lineup when Caw comes back. I think they put Sammy back on the bench, and I think they go with Monique because she's played that well. Um, so I think they stick with Monique on the bench. It's funny because so I was talking with when the
Ooh, the
Storm and
Sky just got their first win,
they beat the Wings. Wow,
97
Break,
92.
breaking news, ladies and gentlemen. Wow, good for them. Um, but anyways, on that subject, on the subject of the Mercury, um, I was talking with someone who covers the team, and I wanted to get a pronunciation on on Makani. So shout out to that person I ran into. But yeah, Phoenix is gonna be a good team. They're gonna be a good team, and we'll get into this next team in a second. But like that game against Seattle, I think Seattle came and took that game. They won that game. Um, they beat Phoenix. I hate to say the phrase fair and square, but they came out and beat them. So yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, Phoenix is going to be a good team.
For sure. This next team, we both actually have, ironically, number three. I'm going to give Brendon the floor because this is his bread and butter. He respectfully before the show, he wanted me to give him the ISO, so I'm going to do that. So, Brendon, the floor is all yours.
Yeah, baby, the Seattle Storm. So we both have the Seattle Storm at number three. Um, I've said it from day one, man. This is going to be a top three team, top or a top defense in the league. I don't see them being lower than three. I think they're right in the mix. Now, if you give me the 2 game sample size, if me and Nate meet right after the 2 games, I'm a little bit nervous about this team because we got blown out by Phoenix in the first game, and then the second game, I feel like Dallas won that or lost that game more than Seattle won that game. Um, so I'm feeling a little bit nervous, but I covered the 2 games to follow the Storm game against the Mercury, and then the game against the Aces. I covered that weekend, and I felt a lot more. I felt a lot more confident in this team. I felt like there's something there. What I saw at the beginning of the season on paper, that's there. You can see it, and that's huge for this team because you're seeing it early on. And I feel like last year you didn't really see it. You see it until like midway through the season. So the fact that we're seeing it 5 games in is really is is really cool. Um, Skylar Diggins, man, Skylar Diggins and Neka Gumake. I feel like Seattle could have 2 MVPs in the running here, and I think at the end of the season they're not going to be in the final running for MVP, but like they make a really good case right now. They're carrying the team. They're doing a fantastic job. Everybody in their role is doing a good job. Um, there's a couple of things I'm concerned about with Seattle. One of the things it was kind of pushed or kind of mitigated or the issue I guess was mitigated against Las Vegas, but Alicia Clark. um, when she had her media day, so one quote stood out to me, although I didn't get to ask a question. One
We can't hear you. We lost you.
I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so going back on Alicia Clark, her media day, she was asked, or she talked about Noelle Quinn, when she first signed here. She was she was talking about how Noelle Quinn wanted to get that offensive side of her out. She wanted to be more. She wanted her to be more of a scorer and more of an offensive player. We know her as a defensive player, but she wanted to get that offense out. If you take out the game against Vegas, she she had a total of 10 shot attempts in 4 games, or in 3 games. Now, small sample size, but if you want to be an offensive player, you should take 8 shots a game minimum. That's a bare minimum if you want to showcase your offensive abilities. You should take 8 shots a game minimum. And AC didn't start out doing that. So her production offensively is really concerning because I mean, the Storm need as much offense as they can get, right? Like they're a defensive team, but the more offense, the better. Um, the other thing I wanted to on a more positive, there's a couple positives that I have for this team besides the starters. Um, Freaking Erica Wheeler, man, she that might be the steal of the off season for the Storm. It's Erica Wheeler because I'm gonna be honest. I did not know what her role was going to be for this team because I didn't really get that big of a sample size last season when she played for Indiana. She didn't do much for Indiana, and at least like her averages weren't good whatsoever. And as far as I know, she was a player on a playoff team. That's just a player and just there for the ride. Um, and then she comes into Seattle, and I feel like this was a fresh start for her. And I feel like she has more of a defined role. And I feel like she's kind of like the energy or the Energizer Bunny for this team. She brings the energy, she brings the swagger. I definitely feel like she was going to be the she was going to bring the swagger for Seattle, whether she played or not. She kind of read as that player. But in the preseason, given what I've thought previously about her, I'm gonna be honest. I thought my bold prediction for her was I thought she was gonna be a surprise cut before the final roster was finalized. Um, I thought she was gonna be a cut because I didn't know what her role was going to be. But now that I see it, and now that I see her potential, like she's just been such a big uplifting player for this team, and it's really needed. And her and Skylar work so well together as that 1-2 punch. I would not be surprised if going, uh, what did Nate say, the 15 game sample size, 15 games in, if Noelle Quinn wants to make a change and put Erica in the starting lineup and bring AC to the bench and bring her up that 6-player role, which AC thrives in, by the way, we've seen that in Vegas. I would not be mad at that. I would actually be encouraged by that, just to see more of that sample size between Skylar and Erica Wheeler. The last point I wanted to make was the play of Dominique Malunga, our rookie forward. She's a tremendous talent. You can see the potential already in 5 games. I believe she's played four games, 3 games maybe. But in the time that we've seen her, she has shown the potential already. And I want to speak to the fans who preach for her to play more. I asked Noelle Quinn what I thought about Dominique Malunga in her minutes against Phoenix, and she preached patience and she preached that it's a process, and I totally understand that, and I told everyone at the start of the year, this is when it comes to rookies and Noelle Quinn, she doesn't throw them into the fire at the start of the season. She waits until they're ready. She sees what she has in them, and then she goes from there. And that's what I think she's doing with Dom. I don't think she's changing that at all. But if you want to check out my piece on her, I would encourage you to do so. I to be honest, I think this is one of my favorite ones that I've done. All of her teammates love her. I asked Skylar about her. I asked Ezzy about her. I asked Noelle Quinn about her. And before talking to Dom herself, all of her teammates love her, and I think that's a big plus. And Skylar had one of the best quotes. She said she's going to be a star in this league for 20 years, and I that my eyes kind of bulged out like whoa, like Seattle's got the real deal here. So she's got a lot of potential. Noelle Quinn's already putting her in with strategically, schematically. With I think you guys should watch the Minnesota Lynx film to see her like actually use her strategically. I think if Seattle wins that game, with 6.5 minutes left, Dominique Malunga had a huge key offensive rebound that turned into an Erica Wheeler bucket that kept us in the game. I think if Seattle wins that game, that's the biggest play of the game. Those types of plays are big to have when it comes to Dominique Malunga and her impact already for this team. So when it comes to rookies, you see Anika Mule, and to be honest, love Nika, love her energy. She's not going to add to the team in terms of them being closer to a championship. Okay, Jordan Horston, she's injured. I think she would add to a championship team, but her rookie year, that team was bad. She's not making the team, she's not making the team more competitive in terms of like they're not closer to winning a championship with Jordan Horston that particular season. This season, Dominique Malunga is an impact player. She's just got to ease her way into the rotation, and it's a process. But once she gets there, she can easily impact this team, and I think she'll outplay or she'll play in terms of like earn more minutes than Lee Yuru at the end of the season. The last thing I wanted to leave off of, this is really, really key for guys like me that like see everything and analyze everything, right? I was at the practice last Saturday before their win against Vegas, and in anticipation of interviewing Dominique, I waited till everybody left the gym, and it was just me, another person next to me wanting to interview her, the PR manager, and Jordan Horston on the side because she was rehabbing, but she was also working on her game, and Dominique Malunga, and she's finishing her workout, and then she immediately goes to film, and she probably spends 30 minutes just watching film with one of her coaches, and just watching her watch film. I was just totally content with waiting to interview her because I'm watching her get better in front of my own eyes. And that's being the last one out of the gym because she's watching film. That's the kind of thing you want to see in a 19-year-old rookie. So from the Storm overall, I like what I see. I already see the potential, and that's all I gotta say about them.
All right. Brendon went on he went there. I figured he was going to do that, but it's all good. It's all good. because that's his team. How I don't have anything to add on that. He took everything I was going to say about the story. But we got two more teams, the Lynx and the Liberty. Honestly, truthfully, the Lynx are now 5-0, but coming into this week, the only reason I put Minnesota at 2, but Kayla McBride, who was not there because of personal reasons, I'm glad to see that she was back. The only reason I put them at 2 because the teams that I just think that they beat just did not have the those teams did not have the, how can I explain it? When it mattered in late game situations, like that one person to say, "Y'all get on my back," it's takeover time. Like, don't get me wrong, Courtney Williams, Fee, Alana Smith, Jessica Shepard, Diamond Miller is going to roll her role in there. Like, Minnesota, I think is good. I don't think it's a perfect 4-0. I think it's been a shaky 4-0, if that makes sense. So I think they'll be fine. But I mean, the close ones was against Dallas and Connecticut. So, but I think they'll be fine. But other than that, I don't have any concerns with Minnesota. I'll give you the floor, New York, Brendon. What's your thoughts? Can't hear you.
My bad. I was on mute. My bad. New York, yeah, I like them. They're a good team. I mean, they got the pieces back. They got the core back. They're playing tremendous basketball. They're getting the job done. This is probably I didn't know I was gonna get into this early into talking about New York, but like, this is probably my biggest I told you so of the WNBA season. I told you guys about Natasha Cloud. I told you guys about how she was she fit like a glove, and I was so happy to have published that article that I did before the season, because I said, like, she's gonna be a special fit for this player or for this team, and she's gonna fit right next to Sabrina. It's gonna be something fun to watch, and that's what she's been doing. And it's funny because I was sitting next to Roberta during the Vegas game, and I told her she had tweeted something about Natasha Cloud, and I oversaw that saw that tweet, and I said, "You should check out my article about Natasha Cloud." And I said, I wrote that article before the season, and now she's been balling. And I said, I won't take the credit for it, but I will. And she goes, "You should. You should take credit for that." And so I'm taking the credit. I told you guys she's gonna be this good. But no, in all seriousness, like, they've got all the pieces to run this back, and I feel like Minnesota does too. Like, this, you should not be surprised if this is a final 3 match from last season. Like, they got all the pieces to run it back, and many people are going to try and stop them, but it's going to be tough because they got all the pieces to do it again. Kennedy Burke has been fantastic. I wanted to give her flowers as well. She's been fantastic, but that's
a most improved player of the year candidate.
Yeah, Kennedy Burke for sure. But like, that's the thing about New York. Like, let's say they have an injury. Let's say Natasha Cloud gets injured, right? Or let's say Sabrina gets hurt. They have the players to fill in and make them feel like they're not missing. Like we talked about with Atlanta and Tahina Pow. They have those players. New York does, and they have multiple of them. That's what, or they have many of them. That's what made them so good last year, is their depth. And I feel like a team like Seattle has that too. But but New York, like New York, that's what makes them so good. So, I mean, I feel like they have the pieces to run it back. So,
yeah, I think I want to kind of clean this up. I think people misconstrued. I think Minnesota, I think, has the pieces to get back to the finals. I think they were a couple plays away from potentially winning, but there's no shame. I think what you could put around, I think you could have built, or they could have did a little better with adding another piece around next to feet, particularly a 5. There's no shame in that. I still kind of like to know what Alyssa Peely's role in this system is, even though Cheryl Reeves has said that she has a role in this system. I yet to see what that is. Diamond Miller, I think, is starting to find her way in the system for sure. But yes, yeah, Minnesota will be fine. But yeah, I think these are the two teams that will get back to the finals. I'm like I said, around that 15 game mark. For the rest, like 3 through 7, 3 through 8, honestly, I think by then we'll have an idea. But until then, yeah, the only really out of is New York and Minnesota. Everybody else right now needs adjustments, patience, concerns. Yeah. So that's our week 2 rankings. But in the meantime, let's get into the one final thought.
Thoughts are running through my mind. Someone took some time to find a minute or two to organize.
I'm gonna give you the floor. What's your one final thought?
yeah, I'm just happy to be able to cover the Storm this year, and among other teams, I'm like I said earlier, I'm gonna be doing a story on Tahina Papau. That's coming up soon, and I've got some more stories in the works as well. But yeah, I'm so happy with the support that I've gotten, not only from the people on Twitter and the people who have messaged me, but like the team has supported me, and some members of the team know, like have seen my writing and my work, and I'm so appreciative of it, and yeah, shout out to the Storm PR team for helping me out every time that I come up there. For people who don't know, it's a 2 to 3 hour drive for me, depending on traffic. So I'm having to make that drive every time I want to cover a Storm game. I do want to give a shout out to he's at Branzino on X and on Instagram. I needed a place to stay last weekend to cover the Storm games against the Mercury and the Aces. And he came through. I got to crash at his place for the weekend, and that he hosted me, and like I couldn't have been more appreciative for him and his hospitality, and he let me do me, and that was really cool. So shout out to Branzino, and yeah, man, I'm going to the game tomorrow. I'm like I said before we recorded, I'm not going to the game on Sunday. We play the Aces. Seen the movie before. I don't want to see it in 3D. But I'll be back on Tuesday going to see the Wings. But yeah, man, this is super fun. I know I went to a lot of games last year as a fan, but this year I've preached like I'm all in. I'm covering the Storm. I'll float around other teams as well when they come to Seattle, but like I'm all in. I'm covering the team. I'm excited, and this has been really fun. So,
love to hear it. I love to hear it. My one final thought. It's been with the WNBA season, the schedule's been a little wonky. At the start, it's been kind of just a tad bit. hard to keep up with the games, but we're getting the content out there. So just be patient. Just trying to keep up with keeping up, and then transition from college basketball, NFL, and then now to the WNBA. So I'm going to get some stuff out there. I will be out there at some Mystic games. Just got to look at the schedule. Trying to get out there probably somewhere around June-ish, August, July. Select the games, cover in person. But I would like to just again thank the Washington Mystics for another summer. I'm covering them in person. It's been fun covering their games. I know that yesterday they were in Baltimore. I do know for a fact they will be in Baltimore in September because the Capital One Arena is under construction. I also do really real quick. No, that's okay. I'm not going to do that. But other than that, it's been fun so far. It's been great basketball. Enjoy the games. Again, it's early in the season. Be patient with the teams. They'll adjust. Everything will be fine. I think we're pushing the panic button. I think that's a part of our human nature. I think we worry too fast, and just calm down. But in the meantime, please like, comment, and subscribe for our future content. I left Brendon's Twitter in the description below. Follow me on Twitter. You can follow my content on mdsportsblog.com. I will remember to put Brendon's world exposure link to his world exposure report articles in the description below as well. But also, again, please like, comment, and subscribe for our future content. Check out the other 2 episodes. They will be uploaded for tomorrow to come out. And then the other content, YouTube shorts, all that stuff will be out. But until then, enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a great weekend, because Friday is, thank God tomorrow's Friday. Do something safe. Stay safe. Do something fun this weekend. May is done. Hello, June. And summer is officially here, and here comes the hot weather. Not looking forward to that, but that's okay. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, we'll catch you later. Have a good night. Peace. Stay up.
Thank you for tuning in to Big Nate Sports Talk. If you enjoyed that episode, be sure to like, subscribe, and share Big Nate Sports Talk. It's on all the time, anytime.
And I want to thank you. All I want to do is say thank you. If ever you find yourself in need of someone you can count on, call on me. I will be the shoulder on which you can lean. 'Cause I'm always here to listen, to be the one that you can count on. Pick you up when you start to fall. And if you ever need me, girl, all you have to do is call. I'll be the one to dry your tears, the one who will chase away your fears. And I'll go that extra mile to see you smile again. Whenever you need me, I will be there. I'll always be with you to show you I care. No matter what may come, you'll always be my friend.